Good evening, everyone. I'm going to do some more Zen Tales from Paul Reps's book, Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. This first one's called Stingy in Teaching. A young physician in Tokyo named Kasuda met a college friend who had been studying Zen. The young doctor asked him what Zen was. I cannot tell you what it is, the friend replied, but one thing is certain. If you understand Zen, you will not be afraid to die. That's fine, said Kasuda. I will try it. Where can I find a teacher? Go to the master Nan Inn, the friend told him. So Kasada went to call on Nan Inn. He carried a dagger, 9.5 inches long, to determine whether or not the teacher himself was afraid to die. When Nan Inn saw Kasuda, he exclaimed, "Hello, friend. How are you? We haven't seen each other for a long time." This perplexed Kasuda, who replied, "We have never met before." "That's right," answered Nanin. "I mistake you for another physician who is receiving instruction here." With such a beginning, Kasuda lost his chance to test the master. So reluctantly, he asked if he might receive Zen instruction. Nanin said, "Zen is not a difficult task. If you are a physician, treat your patients with kindness. That is Zen." Kasuda visited Nanin 3 times. Each time Nanin told him the same thing. A physician should not waste time around here. Go home and take care of your patients. It was not yet clear to Kasuda how such teaching could remove the fear of death. So on his 4th visit he complained. "My friend told me when one learns Zen, one loses his fear of death. Each time I come here, all you tell me is to take care of my patients." So on his 4th visit, he complained again. "I know that much. If that is your so-called Zen, I'm not going to visit you any more." Nanin smiled and patted the doctor. "I have been too strict with you. Let me give you a koan." He presented Kasuda with Joshu's mu to work upon and to work over, which is the first mind-enlightening problem in the book called The Gateless Gate. Kasuda pondered this problem of mu, which means no thing, not nothing, no thing, for 2 years. At length he thought he had reached certainty, a certainty of mind. But his teacher commented, "You are not in yet." Kasuda continued in concentration for another 1.5 years. His mind became placid. Problems dissolved. No thing became the truth. He served his patients well, and without even knowing it, he was free from concern over life and death. Then, when he visited Nanin, his old teacher just smiled. And this one's called the first principle. When one goes to Obaku Temple in Kyoto, one sees carved over the giant gate the words, "The first principle." The letters are unusually large, and those who appreciate calligraphy always admire them as being a masterpiece. They were drawn by Kosen 200 years ago at the time. When the master drew them, he did so on paper, from which workmen made the larger carving in wood. As Kosen sketched the letters, a bold pupil was with him, who had made several gallons of ink for the calligraphy, and who never failed to criticize his master's work. "That is not good," he told Coulson after the first effort. "How is that one?" "Poor." "Worse than before," pronounced the pupil. Coulson patiently wrote one sheet after another until 84 first principles had accumulated, still without the approval of the pupil. Then, when the young man stepped outside for a few moments, Coulson thought, "Now is my chance to escape his keen eye," and he wrote hurriedly, with a mind free from distraction. The first principle. "A masterpiece," pronounced the pupil. Sometimes it's better to do things spontaneously. It works out better. And the next one is called The Sound of One Hand, which is quite a famous koan, of course. What is the sound of one hand clapping? The master of Kenin Temple was Mokurai, silent thunder. He had a little protege named Toyo, who was only 12 years old. Toyo saw the old disciples visit the master's room each morning and evening to receive instruction in Sanzen, or personal guidance, in which they were given koans to stop the mind from wandering. Toro wished to do Sanzen also. "Wait a while," said Mokurai. "You are too young." But the child insisted, so the teacher finally consented. In the evening, little Toyo went at the proper time to the threshold of Mokurai's Sanzen room. He struck the gong to announce his presence, bowed respectfully 3 times outside the door, and went to sit before the master in respectful silence. "You can hear the sound of 2 hands when they clap together," said Mokurai. "Now show me the sound of 1 hand." Toyo bowed and went to his room to consider this problem. From his window, he could hear the music of the geishas. "Ah, I have it," he proclaimed. The next evening, when his teacher asked him to illustrate the sound of 1 hand, Toyo began to play the music of the geishas. "No, no," said Mokurai, "that will never do. That is not the sound of 1 hand. You've not got it at all." Thinking that such music might interrupt, Toyo moved his abode to a quiet place. He meditated again. What can the sound of 1 hand be? He happened to hear some water dripping. "I have it," imagined Toyo. When he next appeared before his teacher, Toyo imitated dripping water. "What is that?" asked Mokurai. "That is the sound of dripping water, but not the sound of 1 hand." "Try again." In vain Toyo meditated to hear the sound of 1 hand. He heard the sighing of the wind, but the sound was rejected. He heard the cry of an owl. This was also refused. The sound of 1 hand was not the locusts. For more than 10 times Toyo visited Mokurai with different sounds. All were wrong. For almost a year he pondered what the sound of 1 hand might be. At last, little Toyo entered true meditation and transcended all sounds. "I could collect no more," he explained later. "So I reached the soundless sound." Toyo had realized the sound of 1 hand. May we all realize the sound of 1 hand, the soundless sound, the voice of the silence. Thank you very much for listening. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Peace on earth and goodwill to all beings. See you again very, very soon. Hopefully. Have a great time. Live in peace, love and harmony.